Okay, let's jump straight into it. We've got what are we at? It's 8 on the Sunday night, so it's 19th of May. So quite a crazy week. I was gonna say hectic, but no, hectic, crazy kind of week in that. I'll get to a couple of the other big ones in the moment because I mean, if you've been trading sort of metals, silver was the big shiner. I mean, um, gold obviously sort of closed. We got a weekly high close, uh, well, all-time weekly high close. So that was obviously a good performer. But silver, I mean, that has just been on such a rip. So, okay, I'll just flip across to silver because I don't normally cover it on this channel. But I mean, look at this move through here. This on the weekly. If you put all this on the daily here, we can see this one last daily candle as it took out those highs on Friday night. Oof, what a absolute run! You can see here, 6.5% just on that one daily candle. I don't, as I said, follow, I don't sort of track daily on these videos, but on my Twitter, or X or whatever you want to call it nowadays, I've been calling a couple of good things actually. Well, calling actually a couple of great things in that. But two of which of this were first we had this, I'll get down to a lower time frame. We'll see there's this little negative divergence. If you watch any of this stuff that I do, time and time again, I've got certain things that I really, my sort of go-to signals. Negative divergences are really one of them. I love negative divergences. I think they're a great high hit rate sort of reversal sort of indicator when you see it sort of lining up. And we're coming through this patch here. And I think I called it, I can't remember, it was somewhere around this point here. And as you can see, we were trying to move down, or the price was trying to move down into this support area as we were sort of flying up with the RSI was not sort of showing the same story. And it just took off. It had one little shake right down to the bottom there again, but just has not looked back since. That was just the start of the month. It was like 2nd of May, was it? Yeah, 2nd of May. 21%, or give or take a few cents in that since start of May. So it's the 19th now, so just over 2 weeks. It has been an absolute rip roar. So yeah, we can see that there was the wedge that was playing out there. That gave us our measured move here. We took this one out sort of, before the week. This consolidation up the top over here was great. Like it just did not give it up all week as DXY was trying to sort of push back up a little bit. It was just absorbing a very tight range. But yeah, Friday night when it took off, poof, just went very strong to the top side there. And as you can see, this is the completion of this sort of flag pattern through here. So this would be coming off from the bottom over here like this. So I just moved out of the way just so you could see it a little bit clearer. I actually thought this would take a little while longer to come to, but as you can see, right up there, bang, close on the highs into that price target. So yeah, silver, an absolute great performer. So I'll get onto a couple of other bits and pieces first. We got Aussie, obviously one of our sort of main plays. Quite a strong week for the Aussie. Um, so where were we 2 seconds ago? If we have a look on the weekly on this one here. Weekly, we can see strong breakout candle. Like this is an area that we've been sort of watching all year to sort of get a close above here. This not only closed above it, but we are looking at, roughly, sorry, what was it saying? A 1% high close. So 66 points at this point. Um, that is a breakout. I mean, that's what we're sort of saying. If you've been watching again, sort of if you follow along with what I've been saying, that as we sort of had this last little map down, sort of fake out bit to the bottom side here, I was saying, look, this is what Aussie likes to do, likes to build these weekly supports, strong areas where you're like, yep, okay, market's down here, goes down. This one even closed underneath and ripped up to the top side. I called this as it was happening again. This was the lows just off that retaliation from Iran, sorry, against Iran from Israel, and it has just been squeezing and pushing since. RSI still got room to move. We've got the breakout on the weekly. We're coming up into a little bit of a congestion area, but realistically, that was quite a solid close to the candle. So I wouldn't be surprised if we definitely still have some more upside. The immediate sort of targets are probably like this 68, 68, low 68s and that for the body fill of this whole move through here. And then if we can sort of really get up and maybe even consolidate a little around this area, we've got a good chance to attempt for a breakout. And this will give us our inverted head and shoulders, which we've called the pie in the sky sort of move target a couple of times in the past. But, as I said, This move down here last year, I had two targets on it because we had a smaller wedge coming out, and then we had this big sort of wedge coming from down here. Price target was up around this 68 level from where we were down here instead of 62s. So if we look at that, I mean that's an 8.63% move from the lows there, which sounds like, I mean, it is a lot, it's a big move. But if you can get a breakout from this area here, this is the same percentage size move. Look, it's not going to come next week or even sort of, next month necessarily. But the point is that while you sort of think, okay, oh no, that's a big massive move, that could never happen. Well, that's the size of the move that we did see coming through the last quarter of 23. So, if you can sort of get up here, consolidate this area here, breakout, backtest, yada yada, the whole biz, that is a potential to move up here. You've got some heavy areas. I mean, these are the things, like I've said every single time, they don't cut through the first time. You'll come up, you'll shoot down, you'll come up, you shoot down. These are areas where we know that the sellers have liked to sell it, so it's going to be something that sort of shows up time and time again. There we go with the little arrows. This level here, this level here. As you can see, this here. If you carry this through, you could probably almost sort of see that this has played its part a number of times as well, trying to be support over here. I mean, top end of this little sort of bottom range over here, the 73 cents range. So, I mean, that's really where you need to get. Like, I mean, this is still quite a way off. So, this is very much sort of forethinking with it all. But point being is that these moves can happen. You just need to be sort of like watching for it. You need to have the things lining up for it, not just with the technical, of course. You need the sort of fundamental on side as well. You need that sort of like, RBA hiking. You need the Fed cutting. These kind of things that's the scenario on a fundamental basis that is going to give you these kind of breakouts. So it's certainly something to keep on the radar. But back more to the sort of here and now of it all. Breakout on the weekly, coming up into a little bit of a congestion. If we get down onto the lower time frame, we can kind of see how this has played its part in the past. This is going back over this area here. This is sort of the start of this year, January this year. Big sort of like congestion zone, I guess you'd sort of call it, through this area over here. And as we see, we tapped up into it, bang, and pushed back down. Still closed quite strong. I mean, all things considered, we hit 67.15 highs. It tried, as you can see, to do this a continuation to sort of cool this one down a little bit more. But as it did it, shot back up. So it closed very strong with it there. So I'll get on to DXY because I think even though, as I say time and time again, Aussie isn't part of the DXY, it is obviously a broad sense of what's happening with the US dollar. And that's in a sort of very pivotal point at the moment. So we'll have to sort of like see what happens with that as to sort of how market sort of values the US dollar more broadly moving forward, because of course they had their CPI out, and with their CPI out came in as expected, but that was a tick down. So as I've said repeatedly, that I think that the inflation's going to take a back foot. It's not going to disappear. It's still going to be part of the conversation, but it's taking a bit of a back seat to recession fears, and I think we're going to see more and more of that sort of the sort of like headline kind of market moving news coming forward. Obviously related to the sort of the rate rises and what the Fed do, or the rate cuts, I should say. But I think that's definitely going to be something that is more on the table. And the more that they talk about the sort of potential rate cuts sooner rather than later to prevent any sort of recession and to help sort of spur on their economy, that is going to see US dollar continue to weaken, at least in the short to medium term. That's going to see Aussie get a bit of a punch up to the top side here. So I would say, look, realistically, I wouldn't be surprised if we could get it may not go up straight away, but I reckon we could get a bit of a dribble up here. I think 68's a reasonable target for the medium term. It's only 100 points off now. Has been a nice big run along here. As long as you can hold this little channel that we're moving up here, I would say buys are definitely on the cards. Even if we do get a drop down here, I reckon 66 will offer another shot. You break below 66, then you got to kind of say this is kind of going and it's probably sort of going to just stuff around these areas a little bit more. But for now, I reckon we'd have a little bit more topside moves in us here. We can see as well that on this 4 hour, this was our resistance area. This is really just your breakout, back test, double back test, and moving back up. So if we take out Friday's highs, let's put a alert on this one. Oh, So this is taking out previous week's highs. I reckon if we see that, we're going to see a similar move where we've got a breakout candle, back test, confirmation will be coming through here, and I reckon we're going to see a move up, sort of well into the 67s. Again, it's going to be, I'll get this alert set up, it's going to be a little bit tough around this sort of 67.30 or this kind of area here, because we know we've got a little bit of sort of resistance. Sellers have liked to sell it from there previously, but I would say certainly if we can get above 67.45, I mean, that'd be a little bit safer. So, it's another 30 points on from where we've put the alert, but the alert's still, relevant as to last week's high. But if we can get a bit of a continuation and go past the 43, then 68 is definitely the area that it's going to be going. And I'll flip onto DXY just as we do this actually, so it stays a little bit relevant. So DXY has been a great trade. We saw, a couple of weeks ago, we had NFP. We broke this trend. I was calling it all last week. Look for this. Actually, no, this was 2 weeks ago. This area was here, and this is going to be, your back test of the underside of this rising support. There's also back test lined up with the underside of this support. Obviously, pops through a little bit, 61%, bang, and down through there as well. That was 2 weeks ago. This was last week, and I was saying that this was the move that we were looking for. So this move here, so it was going to come up. We didn't know how high. Originally, I was thinking it could be here, it could be here. I mean, it could have been any one of these levels. But obviously, it sort of came up a little bit high, 50% retracement. And this was the move that I was waiting to see. This sort of sell down move here. And this came hard. And this was also at the same time that we saw silver do that absolute sort of breakout move. So that was, that was a great, great play, basically. So what we want to look for now is we want to see that this... last couple of hours on a Friday, don't really ever read into them too much. We did hold this area that we previously had. I think on a lower time frame, we might have seen it a bit better. This was the wick high. And back. So we know this area here. This was what I think that was CPI. Yeah, that was a CPI drop down there, and we sort of found a little bit of buying support here, pushed back up, boom, came through. This is the same level in which we've seen it actually sort of been respected a few times. So this is something to pay attention to. We've noticed it here as it came up. It was trying to hold it here. Backtest was on this level as well, held support into Friday's session. So this is something to watch here. And I think if we sort of get a little bit of a sort of almost like a bear flaggish kind of move, something to this sort of effect, I mean, as to sort of where this part goes, this could go here, or more likely, I'll say, if it breaks this high here, they've still got to worry about this lot over here. Let's get this out of the way for now. Doesn't matter. But the idea with this one is that we have this kind of move breaking through here, which would be a bit of a bear flag, and this sort of gets us back down underneath here. So if we take out this little horizontal area, I think that's enough to sort of confirm this shorter term sort of bear flag, and then your price target is going to be back down around those lows from just after CPI the morning before it started to squeeze back up to the top there. Obviously, it sort of moved up. It didn't sort of make a new low coming into the end of the week. But I don't think there's really too much to read into that because, as I said, last couple of hours of the week is generally just pretty flat and quiet. So I'll be watching to see how this opens. I think sort of like, as I said, look, potentially we could get a bear flag coming up here, which would give us up around this area over here, about sort of 457. I think if we get much higher than that, certainly if we get back above sort of 462, that's negated. So I'm going to put this on here. DXY rally. Fail, bear flag. I mean, it's a fairly broad, fairly wide sort of shot for the bear flag kind of thing. But you got to look at this. We've got coming down here. It's technically in this sort of sell down. It was unable to make a new low. It's been finding support where we've seen buyers have been doing active previously. It's oversold. So, it's got potential to sort of push back up through here. Though, in saying that, I think it's going to take a lot for this to sort of go back down. But point being is if we can get back above this little alert area, 462 here, then if we jump onto a higher time frame, you're looking at a failure to continue with this whole sell down move through here coming down. So we'd have to sort of start to go. This comes up with a perfect little channel from that previous one, doesn't it? Coming down through here. That's obviously going to be some sort of resistance for us over here. Coming back up into this lot through here is also going to be a little bit of resistance for it all. But point being is if we sort of push back up here, certainly if we take out those highs before that drop down on Friday, that means you've got a higher low coming through here. And you'll be looking at a bigger kind of recovery potentially with DXY here. Because that's the thing, sort of like, without sort of having the news to sort of drive it, I don't think we're going to be getting any sort of major breakdowns at the moment. That's almost lining up for a bit of a channel through there. But again, this could be a bigger bear flag through here as well and could be setting us up for major breaks. So the thing I'm finding with this at the moment is because there's so many, it could be this, it could be that kind of thing. These are the times you want to be a little bit sort of wary of it all because, as I said, when we had this break of the rising trend, okay, we saw the break, boom, we came up here. We know structurally that it has to go through this wave, the retest. We've got our targets to break here and then our next targets to move down. And that's all pretty sort of straightforward from a structural sort of point. At the moment, we're waiting to sort of see, like we've had the sell down, we've had the push back up, we've had the second push down. We want to see how strong this is, how determined the bears are to really hammer this down to the bottom side here. So from here, really, you've got a couple of different sort of potential outcomes because we got, let's make this a bit thicker. That one there. So you've got your move down, found support, move up, found resistance. Now, really, this leg coming down here at the moment is what's going to tell us what's happening. I'm probably tipping that we will get a little bit more of a push down here. I don't think without any sort of news catalyst are we going to get a breakthrough here because this is going to be a very strong area of support. Because if we go back here, we've seen how many times this level has played its part all the way through here, particularly sort of those last April CPIs. It gave us a launch pad for the sort of like for the buyers to have another shot here, sellers to sort of close some shorts. So I don't think we're going to get, without news, enough to sort of drive all the way down. So I'm thinking probably more, we will get a push down to the bottom side here. I think this little bear flag that I was saying before in the lower time frame will play out. I think this will come down to about this area here, and then we're going to have to reassess, but potentially then you're going to be having a bit of a double bottom. So where we go here. This sort of scenario. Given the right sort of news setup, I think this will fail and I think we will go down further. Like I am looking for a sort of further move to the downside, but I am aware and sort of cautious of the idea that sort of, we may not actually sort of, we may not be coming through quite yet. And that's the thing, when it looks too obvious and too many people are going, like, as I said, this is a nice structural thing. When it looks too obvious that, oh, yes, everybody's selling the dollar, boom, boom, coming down here, well, the pain trade then becomes the other side of it all. And these are the kind of things that really could sort of stifle sort of like some short-term gain. So if we get down underneath this level here, I could see that sort of lining up with Aussie moving to 68 cents for a test, which gives another sort of 100 points or so, 100, and, depending where we close, what, in the 66.90s, about another 100 points or so. And I reckon 68 will sort of obviously offer some resistance with Aussie. And at the same time, I imagine that this will be sort of breaking down here, finding some support. So it means that these things will sort of be lining up at the same time. You've got that cross-chart confluence of, US dollar buying on DXY. At the same time, Aussie dollar coming into a resistance area where we will see a bit of a sell down. So that's my sort of feeling there. If we could break this bottom level here, that's the play that I'm looking for. Aussie buys up until 68. If we can sort of, if I don't get that, if we end up sort of pushing up here, well, that means that this is actually a higher low. And then we've got to sort of look at how he sort of goes when he gets up into this area here, see if they can sort of break through what would be that sort of, Friday sell down highs. So that's just a little bit of a thought there. It's a bit scrappy. There's a couple of potential outcomes. So as I said, with these sort of things, when it's all like it's sort of a kind of clear but not so clear, that's when it's sort of like best to sort of just hold off, wait for those alerts to go off because nothing's 100%, but you may as well stack the cards in your favor and have it sort of like pointing towards one direction rather than another, and have a little bit of a higher sort of level of sort of confirmation, basically. All right, cool. And across we got gold. Gold has also been absolutely ripping this trade. We didn't get the extra deep pullback. I was putting this line in here. I was showing, I think, one of the other days I was saying, look, if we broke this level here, which, this is a perfect example. Sellers, 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 now buyers, 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 launch pad, bang. We came through this little sort of falling resistance. I mean, see it better on, I think, a 1 hour shows it a little bit better. We can see, so it came through here, failed to sort of get that second sell down through here, and away it went. And obviously came up with quite a strong close. So I actually closed a lot of my metals on Friday. So I'm a little bit in two camps as to sort of what we're going to see come Monday morning. So if we put this onto the weekly, you can see this is a high weekly close and quite a substantial one as well. So we're looking at 21 buck move. Not too bad for a close there. And as you can see with these sort of moves here, we go up, back test, and then push up through here. So this is the flow to sort of keep on moving forward up until our price target 2,500, which is what we call the other week, which is really the sort of fifth leg of what would be this little Elliott wave kind of thing. I'm not a big Elliott wave person, but that is potentially where we'd be looking at. This is also the, did I have it marked out on this one here? A bit of the bear flag, so bull flag price target. Maybe I haven't got on this one. No. Okay, regardless. All right, so we got to think, where are we at here? Sorry, I'm all over the shop with this chart. Okay, so where are we sort of thinking sort of through to here? As I said, I think sort of certainly the fact that we've got this sort of high weekly close, finished very strong as well, is going to be on a lot of people's radars. Like they're going to be going, oh wow, confirmation moving through to the next side, and these are the kind of things that can sometimes make you a little bit cautious to sort of jump in at least too heavy too early, because a lot of people are going to be seeing this stuff, and as we know, the market's not easy. Well, they don't make it easy. So it's got to have one of two things. So either one, we're going to sort of see some ridiculous blow off run up to the top side over here. This would be similar, reminiscent to, where was it? Those last massive highs, that big spike we had. Jeez, I guess I missed that one a little bit there. I don't know how far back I was thinking I was going, but where are we? This one here. Jeez, I'm all over the shop. So if you go back here, this was where we are back in November, and this is when we sort of had that sort of at the time all-time high, and you can see how heavy this move was. If you looked at this and actually sort of watched a trader, which I did, I was shorting all the way up through this period here. This opened up, and Asia is generally a pretty quiet session for gold. And as you can see here, this was Friday, 23rd of December. It finished bang, big high, strong close, coming right up to the top. Come Monday, it dribbled around for about an hour or so, and then it just went bang, 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 and it flew up to the top side. I mean, that's a $70 wick just to the top side, and obviously we saw how this one closed and finished, coming back down into that 1980s area. But so this is my sort of feeling with metals come Monday morning. It's on everybody's radar. A lot of people going, wow, gold, have you seen it? It's going up to the sort of all-time highs. Well, it is going up to test the all-time highs. It was an all-time weekly close. It's either going to sort of have this kind of reaction where it dribbles around and then just goes insane and pumps up to the top side, or we're just going to see it. Too many people sort of go, yep, that's the easy money, get on it, and we're going to see some pullback. I don't think the pullback will last. Like, I do think regardless of what happens, this time next week, will be saying, wow, got to 2,500. That's my feeling. I mean, last week I was saying that sort of like, we're going to be sort of coming up through this area over here. A close over 24 was something I was looking for. And as you can see, quite a solid week. Bang, closed up to the top side over here. So I will be probably more likely going to be sort of like waiting a little bit lower for some buys. I think possibly some early week shakes down to these previous body fills would probably be pretty good, or previous daily wick highs. So this kind of area through here. I mean, this is on a daily, so it's a bit hard to sort of really lock it down. But I would say a little bit of a shake of this move here. I think too many people, look, as I said, it could just go bang, bang, run straight up over here. Could definitely do that. There's going to be a lot of stops above this area as well, remember. Like, there's a lot of people up here that were going, okay, yep, that's it. I've caught the top in gold, bang, bang, all the way down. They're starting to sweat a little bit. Or anybody short through this area is starting to sweat because this is a confirmation of going higher, high. But I would say that sort of like we would probably get some sort of early shake off. An area that I'd be interested to be buying would be back down around these sort of 2390s. I mean, this could just go melt all the way back down here, but I do think that we are going to go a little bit higher. I think 2500 is still a plausible price target. I just think that, the pain trade is to shake a couple of people out first and then run it up. So if we get any sort of pullbacks into these sort of 90 areas, I'm going to start looking to sort of start building a bit more of a long position on that one. So make this a little bit shorter, thinner. And then look for that to sort of come up over here. And of course, we've got a couple of alerts to set here. So this is taking out last week's highs. This one is new all-time high. And that's the big confirmation, this one here. Because, taking out last week's highs is good. I mean, they're pretty close. 42, what are we at? 24 to 34 is a $10 difference in it all. So certainly taking out the all-time highs will be, taking out last week's high will be good. We still need to get above that and actually book in and, preferably sort of close with an all-time high as well on the dailies, or it would be any time frame to get the close up there, 4 hour or above, to really show that it's committed and it wants to move up to the top side there. I just think that potentially we could see a little bit of a shake first. If we carry this one through here, this almost sort of looks like it'd line up pretty well with a sort of back test of the trend, back test of these previous highs, the weekly body fill that we were looking at for last week. I have a feeling that this could be a good area to have a shot to sort of go up to the top side here. If we do get back down below 69, well, we know that this is a bit of a failed area here, and we'll reassess at that stage and start to look for what ranges we could be looking for moving forward. But I certainly think that 25 has got a sort of top side target on it moving forward. Another thing that does make me sort of feel that we could be seeing a little bit of a pullback here is the correlation, as I said, silver. Silver has sort of also come up into, this isn't just my price target, this is a measured move price target. So a lot of people would also be looking at this. Well, here's the flag, here's the wedge pullback, flag pole, whatever. Here's the measure move, bang, and this could close up here as well. So, not to sort of say that this is going to fall over now, but there's a good reason that a lot of people that do trade technicals would be going, okay, well, this move in itself is completed. So maybe let's sort of take our profits before it sort of melts down completely, and that could then sort of obviously add some little snowball effect. Silver, look, I would think if we sort of drag through these highs through here, this would be an area. I know it's sort of quite a way back here, but if we could get back down into the retest, because remember, this just blew off and ran. It didn't even come back and test it, even on the lower time frames. Came back down a little bit, as you can see here, but it did not get back and actually do a proper retest here. So if we have a look at silver moving through here, that's a little bit of a sort of, a little bit of a sort of tight trend. So I think there's certainly some areas. This is on this lower time frames, of course. has a couple of levels where we could potentially look for some buys for a bit of a pullback, shakeout, and gives ourselves a decent entry to then sort of be sort of moving back up. We'll go through, say, what's the buys there? So yeah, if we can get back down to those 3060s, I think that'd give you a pretty good sort of entry, risk reward wise, to then sort of target to come back up and give a retest here. Because again, the structure of these things, you've got the buying, pullback, you've got to see that second leg. Is it going to go through for a higher high? Is it going to go up for the second leg and it's just going to be a double top? Or is it going to come up here and give it a lower high? You know what I mean? So this leg does have to happen eventually. I mean, look, this could go before it does sort of pull back. Again, it could come up here and then do its pullback leg and then move forward. But what I'm sort of looking for is this move here. This is what I'm sort of looking for. The pullback and then this leg through here, this middle leg, where we can sort of determine the strength. Because this leg has to happen. It does have to have a pullback, does have to have a second go. It's just a bit risky to be buying it straight away and then have it find out you bought the top and have it just come back here to stop you out before it has another move to go to the top side there. So again, I think with metals, I'll be watching it on the open because as I said, look, there is a possibility that we did get that big, like we do get that repeat of that one back in December where it absolutely like just went mental, like $70 straight up. But at the same time, I don't want to buy the top. And I think that both of these offer a bit of a sort of quick shakeout, buys as we sort of come down, and then another chance to rip it back up. All right, finish off quickly. We'll just shoot through. We got copper, just again on an absolute rip coming to the top side here. Where are we at? Put this on a 4 hour. And you can see that this is what I was talking about with these sort of things. Here's your price target, smash right through, backtest, 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 and on its way again. So, you know, you didn't want to sort of buy this one at the top here where it looks super bullish and then finally get stopped out and it looks like it's coming down for a second thing. Failed to go through to make a lower low in this pullback move. So we actually got a high, double, and then ripped back off here. And this is what I'm talking about. This area here is where you, obviously hindsight beautiful for this chart, but this is where you want to be buying. You want to be buying on these pullbacks to target the previous highs coming through here. So as I said, you flip back, same with silver. You don't want to buy the top, you want to wait for it to pull back a little bit, and then you want to be buying these areas here to then target the top. That's the safer trade with these sort of metals. So back onto copper. So yeah, super strong week for this one. I mean, it's closing right out near the top again. Everything looks absolute roses for metal to keep on pushing up here, which again makes me sort of think that, you know, where's the pain trade? The pain trade might be to the downside. Snap some people out first and then rip it up. So we'll have to see how it opens for the week. But I think, you know, when we sort of line all these things up, DXY failed to sort of commit to breaking that support area. Not to sort of say that it won't. Failed to commit to breaking that support area. We got gold closing on right near the highs. We got silver right up into those sort of support areas, resistance areas and price target. I think that sort of, yeah, these things all sort of line up to a little bit of the idea that we may have a little bit of a shake early on. So, yes, that's just another thing. Maybe it's just confirmation bias for me, but it's just me in a room talking at the moment. So it doesn't really matter. If we do look at gold with this one here, just sort of comes, copper. I forget what I'm actually trading at the time. Coming through here, again, this could be another sort of reason that we could get a little bit of a pullback here as well. Come back to this trend, make a little bit of a triangle, and then see a breakout moving back up above sort of above 5. I would say that's probably an idea for it as well, just off this trend line here. Okay, and finally just finish off with China. And China just really just all over the shop. It is still grinding back up to this one here. Every time it looks like it's about to fall down. Look at these wicks. It keeps sort of springing back on. I can't remember what day I put the video on. I think it was maybe, what was this, the Thursday? Yeah, Thursday I said, look, if we can break through this little zone through here, which we did, obviously there's a bit of a shakeout, came back down here. This was the price target that we were looking for. We can see that it's been respected time and time again in the higher time frames. Chuck it onto the fours. It was support, You know, they tried to sort of hold it this way before it went through. You know, support, and I said, look, if it comes up here, this is going to be your target, and there's going to be resistance. And as you can see, we've tapped into it twice now. It is getting a little bit stretched and overbought here, but this bounce has been quite phenomenal and pushed up a lot higher than I thought it would. And it's just a little bit hard to tell. And this is what I've said. I haven't really been able to give much leeway on China recently because, as you can see, it's just wicks. It slowly is grinding up, but these aren't these aren't like a big confirmation. Like, you know what I mean? Not confirmation, but a more convincing kind of sort of recovery move here. So to me, I still think that this is coming up. I think it's going to sort of go roll over, and then we're going to see the move back down to 720 for a potential continuation down through this side here. But certainly at the moment, it's just doing its thing. It's grinding. This is what the yuan does. It is slowly still moving up, and this is quite a wick to sort of come down here. Yeah, look at this on the lower time frame. Yeah, you can see the bounce back up here. It didn't take much time at all, and then sort of pop through the top side there. But for me, it doesn't feel like it's a real sort of committed move to the top side. It feels like it's just like, oh, yep, sweet, let's go hit the stops. Let's hit the stops and comes down. This one didn't quite even make it to another high, but again, end of the week, not really too much to add there. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'll have a quick look over the news of what we sort of got coming up this week. I do believe it's a pretty sort of quiet week though. Monday's looking pretty flat. Tuesday, bit of Canadian data. We got the Aussie monetary policy meeting minutes on Tuesday, 11:30 Melbourne time. We've got a bit of China data on Monday actually. The 1 and 5 year loan rates, so that may sort of also be a little bit of a mover. Let's see, Tuesday, not too much. Wednesday, no, the whole week's looking pretty flat actually. PMI Thursday seems to be coming out, so everybody's coming out with their PMI data on Thursday. Probably US is the main one to sort of really watch there. That's 11:45 p.m. at night. That one's expecting a slight tick up in manufacturing and a slight tick up in services as well. So interesting. I mean, if they do come in a bit stronger, you may sort of see US dollar strengthen up, but obviously that's not till second half of the week. And the consumer sentiment on Friday night. But yeah, apart from that, it's a very quiet for market moving news coming this week. So we'll just have to sort of see how it plays out. I'm going to be looking, as I said, for how the metal market opens on Monday. I'm going to be sort of trying to buy some dips. I've still got 25 as a target. I want to see what silver can do because price target was met over the weekend, over Friday, of course. So I think I may sort of, as I said, just be lurking a little bit lower, see if we can see some profit taking come back to those earlier zones, and then sort of try and jump back on board. But of course, you know, I'll be setting some, I've already set some alerts, but I'll set some more alerts if we happen to absolutely explode off come Monday morning on Asia session with the metals like we did back in December. All right, that's about it from me.